My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. We break down full fight cards every single week. We give you our picks, our bets, and our fantasy plays. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. And this is brought to you by Earn You. Earn You is the world's first sports and esports prediction game, allowing you to earn crypto risk-free. Check it out now at earnu.com. And ODDSJAM. ODDSJAM has the fastest real-time data integrations to spot discrepancies between different sportsbooks and helping users place risk-free bets. Check them out at oddsjam.com. Next up, at UFC 273, we have Anthony Fluffy Hernandez taking on Josh Fremd. Anthony Hernandez is 8-2 overall, 2-2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that giant upset win over Rodolfo Vieira. Josh Fremd is 9-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, making his UFC debut. And he's coming off a submission win less than just 2 months ago. This is an interesting matchup here because Anthony Hernandez was originally supposed to fight Dricus du Plessis. Kelvin Gastelum lost his opponent. The UFC said, ooh, we love Dricus. Let's throw him on the main card against Kelvin. We can showcase, blah, blah, blah. That fight fell apart. Anthony Hernandez gets to remain on the card, and he has a last-minute late replacement, Josh Fremd. Anthony Hernandez, he's a very good grappler, and the only reason most people even know his name is because he has better cardio than Rodolfo Vieira. If you don't remember that fight, essentially Rodolfo Vieira took down Anthony Hernandez 4 times, controlled the hell out of him, beat him up pretty bad, and then gassed harder than anybody has ever gassed in any fight ever. Hernandez was in shape, obviously. He was well prepared, saw his opportunity, and he ended up submitting the world champion black belt, Rodolfo Vieira. Outside of that fight, he's had sort of mixed success. He's got solid takedowns. He does have a BJJ black belt, and although he is willing to strike, that's never his path to victory. Josh Fremd is a grappler with solid athleticism, and he does have some sneaky power in his punches. He's had a lot of success in the LFA. His only loss over there was to Gregory Rodriguez, who's in the UFC now, and he's on his own little streak. He is coming off a win on Dana White's Looking for a Fight show. That's basically Contender Series, but instead of being at the Apex, it's at regional shows. And, you know, in that fight, that Dana White Looking for a Fight where he won, he did have a little trouble with the striking, but he was able to get it to the ground, and then he got it done there, and that's where he got his contract. And it's an interesting matchup because I think it's a much better matchup for Anthony Hernandez than his original opponent. Both of these guys are grapplers. Neither guy really looks very comfortable when they're striking. I think Hernandez is the better, just pure, raw grappler. Like, if it was a grappling tournament, I think Hernandez would win in that matchup. And he obviously has more experience, or at least more experience at this level. But Josh is the more athletic guy, and he's evolving really fast. I did this whole, I talked about this in the Quick Picks video. I put a lot of stock in athleticism because if you're an athlete, you can learn at a faster pace. You can do, Jacob. You can do things in that fight that a non-athlete can't do. And we're starting to hit the era, we're at like what UFC, you could call it Gen 3, Gen 1, Hoist Gracie, Gen 2 was, I don't know, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, and now Generation 3 is, these guys
Conor
here.
McGregor.
And everybody
Ryan Hall.
is everybody is an athlete. So, we're still weeding out a few, and there's people like Anthony Hernandez, and Hernandez isn't necessarily a pure athlete, couldn't be a professional in another sport, where Josh Fremd has that ridiculous athleticism. And there's a lot of stock to be put in that. The last comparison I'll make here, and I'm not saying Josh Fremd is like George St. Pierre because they're nothing. You cannot make that comparison. But I use George St. Pierre as the bar for athleticism because the dude never wrestled a day in his life, ever. He was a karate guy, started doing MMA, learned to wrestle as an adult, and then literally ended up being the best wrestler in the UFC as far as, getting the takedowns and controlling from there. So athleticism means a lot. That's a very long rant about athleticism. And that is what it makes this pick so tough because I do think neither guy is a great striker. Both are good grapplers. Anthony's a better grappler. Anthony has better, he's has more experience. But Josh Fremd's a better athlete and he's a capable guy. I like Anthony Hernandez to win, but it is so stupid razor thin. And I opened this whole card breakdown saying This is a much tougher card to pick than a lot of people think because people are only focusing on the big 3 fights, and those are pretty straightforward. These undercards, every single one of them could go the other way. What do you think, Jackie boy?
Yeah, let me preface this too with I'm staying away from this fight completely, and I 100% agree. If this wasn't a short notice fight, and this is literally like a week's notice fight for Josh, if this was not short notice, I'm pretty sure I would pick him to win because I agree. I think he's a better athlete. I think he's a better striker, and I think on the ground, it's in the wrestling. I think it's pretty even. I think in the pure jiu-jitsu, I agree. I think Hernandez definitely has that advantage, but I think this easily comes down to who is able to offensive wrestle. I think that if it's in the striking, I think it's kind of a wash. But Josh, I'm worried about the short notice. Maybe he tires out because you saw Anthony persevere. We've seen him persevere in fights. I think even in that Jordan Wright fight, he was kind of hurt a little bit and then ended up knocking Jordan Wright out. But this is, I think whoever is able to offensive wrestle the other person, that's the path to victory for both of them. So we'll see how it plays out. I will say that I watched a Josh fight that was actually kind of funny because it was a fight versus who was it? Dino Juklo. It was an amateur fight, but you guys got to watch that fight. It was like two people. It was like identical twins that fought. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was so crazy that the announcers, Josh got armbar victory, and then the announcer said that he lost. And it was like 2 or 3 minutes of saying like, yeah, Josh just got armbar, and they're like, wait, oh no, Josh won because they look like identical. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, I'm picking Anthony Hernandez too. Completely staying away from this with money, with everything else, with DraftKings because I don't trust him. But I think he's the pick because he's been here and he has experience, I guess. So see what happens.
No, I completely agree. Experience absolutely matters. We'll talk about that more specifically in another fight on this card. So we're both aligned here. Josh Fremd. The problem is I wish he was like a 3-1 underdog and then he's worth it. But this pricing, neither guy is worth it. Anthony Hernandez is absolutely not a 2-1 favorite. Josh Fremd should be.
Yeah, I think they're moving the other way, so you might get it because I think it opened at -150 or something for Anthony. I think it keeps moving. So we'll see. We might get better odds later in the week.
Yeah, listen, I'll grab Josh Fremd. I'll throw a couple bucks on him
good
just
for
to see
that.
what happens.
What's good for that is ODDSJAM.
ODDSJAM is good for that. Hey, nice plug. We appreciate our sponsors here. ODDSJAM actually really is good for that. If you want to go to oddsjam.com, they literally have, any nerds here know what I'm talking about, APIs into all your favorite sports books that just pulls back the real-time odds because, odds are updating throughout the day as money comes in. They pull back all of those real-time odds for every book, and then you can just see who's lagging, who's not moving as quick, and you can just spot the best odd, and then right from there, jump in and place your bet. So anyway, we're aligned in our thinking here. I'm not spending the DraftKings money on either guy. $8,700. That's almost $9,000. Like, no way. I do not trust that at all. Monkey knife fight. It's probably more and more. I think they go at it. Probably a decision. I think they just start swinging wild. The stupid little pitter patter punches against the cage for takedown defense. What do you think?
I just thought about this because we're like so far off of Anthony. Like, oh no, I wouldn't spend it because I feel the same way. I wouldn't spend it. He's probably gonna get a first round submission or something stupid. He's probably gonna be like the highest scoring DraftKings person or whatever. But yeah, I would stay away from it. And the monkey knife fight, probably more and more.
Yeah, I'm more confident in the monkey knife fight for sure because I do think they go at it. And if Anthony loses, I think it's just Josh being a little faster, a little strong. Just that athleticism is just that tiny edge to get through it. And if you want to get through the rest of your week with an extra $50 in your pocket, go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. Let us know after you do. We send you $50 as a thank you. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. It's that simple. $50 for free. WeWantPicks.com/bets.